Cacao ceremony facilitator for over a year now, trained by a shaman whose principles are rooted in Andean cosmology, which I touch on, but very much spin it my own way. So you'll notice a few of that woven through this call today. And the intention for really making this a 30-minute call, and obviously these first few minutes I'll give you a cognitive G-up of who I am and why you should trust me to lead you and guide you into ceremony. But for the remainder of the call, it will be dropping deeper into the layers of your emotional body and your energetic body, is because this doesn't have to be such a strenuous or time-consuming thing. For me, even the word sacred, way before Dan and I started collaborating and chatting and connecting, I used to use this phrase in the very early days of facilitating space, that I wanted to make the mundane feel magic and the normal feel sacred. And why couldn't I have ceremony every single day through the most boring menial tasks? So for me, ceremony is woven through my everyday so intentionally now that from waking to going to sleep, I feel like I'm in ceremony in some sense. And so the practice really comes with dropping into a space like this where there is an intention, where there is a bit of fundamental guidance, so that you can take that away and keep it in your medicine pouch and be like, okay, how can I take this process when I wake up and I have 5 minutes in bed to myself in the morning, or when I'm driving home from work and I'm stuck in traffic? Because these are the realities, right? What I see a lot in the industry that I work in, which is very self-helpy. And if you know me, my Instagram handle is Savage Spirituality for the Suckers of Self-Help, because I too have been down that rabbit hole spiral and got sucked deep into it. And my whole life became about getting better. And I was missing the mark of not enjoying life, and instead always trying to get better and to fix it. So ceremony comes at personal development or self-help in this different flavor. It's like, it's already good enough. You're already here. Yeah. And when we shift into that state, everything as a flow-on effect becomes way more beautiful, whether it's a challenge, whether it's, I don't want to say hard, but not an ideal Instagram worthy scenario that you're experiencing, that you can still feel the way you want to feel. So I hope that in this 20 minutes or 25 minutes that we have together, you access the part of yourself that perhaps you've long forgotten, or you tuck away in a corner for yoga class or your girlfriends on a Saturday night after a few wines. What I want to pull out of you is that truth that you long for, that finds you in the middle of the night when you're hungry, and really come home to that place so you can train your system to feel that way without the external validation of what we think might get us there. Is there anything else there? So it is solstice and new moon. And I was just on a call with my shaman right before this call, and she actually made a joke around how typically at these times with these big portals opening, our electrical devices, the internet, business, all those kinds of things kind of get skewy. So instead of me trying to get fancy today, I'm actually going to just quickly pop in the chat box below a song that goes for 20 minutes that if you would like music, you can open up separately in Spotify or YouTube and press play at any point in the next few minutes. It doesn't matter if we're not all on time, it's totally cool. And this is just an ambient track, no words, but music is really a facilitator of our emotional state, right? It's the best way to shift our state if we want to move energy, which is what ceremony is all about for me personally. My work is deeply rooted in emotional alchemy, which is the transmutation of one thing into the other. And so a lot of the clients I work with, they have stress, or they have an illness or a stuck point in their business, or they've hit a level in their relationship or the bank account, and they want to move it. They want something to change. And so instead of over consuming information and knowing up here, what really gets us where we want to go is knowing in here. And so music is just an extra sensory experience that can help us into that state. So, you know, we all know this, right? Like an alarm can set your system like this, or nice piano on a Friday night while you pour that red makes you feel a different way, or going on a workout with those strong beats activate the warrior in you. So this song really activates the archetype of ceremony and the ceremonialist. So for those of you that have Cacao, you can press play. It's totally optional. You don't need the music at all. But make sure that you can still hear my voice over the volume that you've selected. And I'll put this link in the comments below for those of you watching the recording. But just coming into your own space now, recognizing that we're all here together. We're all on different time zones, maybe different parts of the world. So bringing your cup of cacao either up to your chest or down to your womb or your hara, if you've got all the male bits. And maybe resting the other palm of your hand over another spot of the body. That's really asking for your attention. Perhaps your soft belly needs a loving touch right now to be held. And when you feel comfortable to do so, just closing down your eyes. Just making sure that before we jump into ceremony that everybody's on mute so that we can all feel really comfortable in making any sound or breathing deeply, sighing loudly. Yeah, Victoria, I'll just get you to mute, love. Thanks. Cheers. So just closing down the eyes now. And taking note of what happens in the spaces in between for you. What does your body default to when I'm not using my words to communicate to you? Where does your mind go in the space that you've so longed for when you finally get it? Gathering the collective energy, I invite us all now to take deep belly breaths in and out through the mouth. Perhaps exhaling audibly, maybe even making a sound, using this gateway to embodiment. Remember that you always have your movement, your sound, and your breath through this ceremony. And these are your tools to alchemize energy. Anything that feels stuck or stagnant or a little bit, you can use this, come back to this. And on your final breath, just settling into a rhythm that connects you with the others sitting here in ceremony with you. The ones that are devoted to receiving the medicine of cacao, the plant spirit that leads us straight back home to our hearts. Knowing that you are not in this alone, and that no matter the state of the world, our current affairs, the astrological influence, there is always you, your responsibility of your state of being. So what is it that you welcome now? Perhaps even just intending to consume cacao unwinds and recalibrates your nervous system just a little bit. And we'll start this ceremony moving through the 4 directions. But before we do that, with your eyes closed in this intentional space before opening, can you create a sacred pause to honor and acknowledge the land that you rest on, that you work on, live upon? Can you bring to mind, even if you don't know the name or who they are, the traditional custodians and original owners of the land that you rest on? And to the elders past, present, and emerging, give your thanks. Thank you is the most powerful prayer, which will set the tone for the remainder of our time together. For me in Northeast Australia, this is the Wulguruga people, thanking, offering, bringing them to heart and mind. And you do this in your own way, no rules. Inviting in now from the east, and this doesn't involve moving, but simply bringing to your mind's eye the rising sun, the golden flickers of light that promise a new day, full of infinite potential, quantum possibilities. And if you were to turn on your multi-sensory faculties, is it possible for you to feel the warmth of the new light of day on your skin hit your face? These beams and rays of sunlight dance, illuminated, golden, in through the crown of your head, waking you up ever so slowly, energizing you from the top down. Perhaps even bringing a glittery or shimmery quality to the sun. And carrying the medicine of the sun, of this golden light, we invoke now the spirit of Cacao, coming to you in the form of a dragon. Watching her slither in, making herself, her presence known now. Feeling your heart open and soften in her presence, yet also feeling this fierce feminine flow. With the intersection, the marriage between the masculine of the sun and the feminine of Cacao, can you open now to this divine dance within you? As the channel from your crown opens to receive the light made available from the east, bring the cup of cacao closer to your lips and take one sip in reverence for these energies, these forces that shine for you no matter what. Drinking in that golden light, letting it settle into your system, run through your veins, lighting up each cell. Can you feel now the winds of the east, the element of air and ether, transitioning us from our sleeping state into wakefulness? Bowing your head gently in gratitude. And then shifting slowly your awareness and your attention now to the north. Perhaps that means slightly lifting your chin as if you're looking up. And evoking the energy of the mountain, the pillar of strength, the crystalline mountains that connect us with the cosmos, yet sturdy, rooted in the earth. Our pillar of clarity when we feel uncertain. Perhaps you have a sacred mountain of your own, one that you've visited, one that you'd love to visit. And calling that mountain in now to ground you into this unshakable essence. Feeling that air and ether change now to a feeling of earth, of groundedness, rooting down. And noticing what happens when you draw the light up through the soles of your feet, all the way to the top of this pillar, this mountain in front of you. Notice that inner strength, how your spine straightens, how your chin lifts, creating more space now for your heart to expand and open. While we rest here with the mountain, is there anything that you would like to ask clarity for? In this active space of strength, what is it that you most need to hear? Patiently await an answer, often simple, arise from the mountain itself. Taking a deep breath in, drawing all of these codes of crystalline clarity into your being, every cell remembering how connected you are to the sky and the earth. Taking a sip now of your cacao. Shifting the direction now to focus on the south. Perhaps even bowing your head slightly as if you were looking down. We welcome the animal totem of the serpent in, much like the dragon slithering up from the underworld. With the energies and the element of water in this Cancer new moon, can you emanate that spineless flexibility of the serpent as if you were being floated down a river? Bring to mind now sacred waters that feel special to you. Perhaps it is a lake, a river, a body of water, anywhere. It can be a puddle that you have a great memory about. A lake. Bringing this image now to your mind's eye, coloring it in, magnifying it so that you feel as if you are there. Seeing your reflection as the sacred waters now encourage you to flow. To trust that with the strength and stability of the mountain, the clarity that you carry from the previous element, you are safe now, secure enough to release and let go of any agenda, of any expectation, of any controlling or manipulative tendencies. The water asks you to let it be. And so if this feels a little challenging for you to drop down a level deeper from the mind into the body, I'd like to invite you now to just bring through some movements of fluidity in the body, really subtly. Just shifting the hips back and forth, maybe resting one of your palms over the belly and feeling the softness, the fluidity. Maybe even taking a few head rolls, expanding and stretching through the neck. Or taking your hips into circles now. The serpent being awakened from the base of our spine to deliver us those important messages from our underworld, our subconscious. Asking the sacred waters while we are here, is there anything that needs to be cleansed? What part of me can I let go and float downstream? Letting this element offer you its medicine of how easy it can be to be buoyant, to be held, to be supported, to be shown the way. What is it, with the help and assistance of these waters, can I release downstream? And then instead of just thinking it, do it. Whether that is physically using your hand to place something imaginary in the waters. Maybe in your mind's eye, you relax on your back, totally held up, floating in these waters. Feeling the spaciousness that this brings into your being. And finally, taking a sip of your cacao here to honor, bring reverence and remembrance into the power of water, the waters that connect us all, no matter where we are on the planet. The original form of life that sustains us, offering your gratitude now with this sip as your prayer. And now taking your attention now to the west, the place of the setting sun, the phase of death, the dying of the day. And as the sun sets, yet rises each day, can he teach you to set yourself down now? Whatever has got you here to this point, whether it's just today or the years up until this moment that has got you sitting here right now with Cacao, what would happen if you set yourself down to fade into the nothingness, to be reborn anew? We welcome the element of fire, the ultimate element of alchemy, the burn that unapologetically kills what is in its way. Underneath the burn is fresh growth, and we cannot rise if it is not from ashes. So welcoming now the rage, the holy rage of the fire, of the setting sun, to burn away at whatever is in you that you have had so much trouble setting down, that you have been working and trying and writing and thinking and learning. The thing that is taking up space for you, that is blocking whatever it is that in this new cycle of this eclipse, solstice, and new moon needs that space for a new seed to be planted. I invite you now to offer it to the sacred fire. In your mind's eye, this might look like offering something physical, a piece of clothing that symbolics an old version of you you've been carrying around too long. Perhaps it's an item, or maybe even just imagining writing down one word on a piece of paper about a belief or a story, a narrative that you've been carrying that you'd like to throw into the fire and watch burn. This is your opportunity to purge, to complete the process of the rising with the sun, the springtime, the summer, and then falling away with the waters as we begin to let go and shed and release into now the winter, the phase of death, so that we can do it all over again. What needs to die? Just noticing what that question brings up for you. Perhaps there's contraction, resistance. Perhaps there is willingness and relief. When you feel ready to do so, drawing your cacao up to your lips and bowing in immense gratitude for the power of the fire and the sunset. Take your final sip, and with your exhalation, offer your breath as prayer that it is done. Taking your opposite palm now down to the ground beneath you, or the surface in front of you, wherever you're sitting. Making contact with what feels like underneath. Keeping your eyes closed and just making contact with your palm. To offer deep reverence, gratitude, thanks, appreciation with every cell of your being. To the elements that are always working for us, keeping us in the cycle of rebirth and death, when we've long forgotten that we are cyclic beings. Offering thanks to the ancestors, the guides, your celestial family, the cosmic council you connect to, whatever your word is for your spiritual connection. And also for Pachamama herself, Earth, to the mountains and the waters and every other part of her. Thank you. Taking a big deep breath in through the mouth again. Drawing all of this life and light in. With your exhalation, giving it right back. A part of the cycle, not separate. Home right here in this body, in this time. And slowly, whenever you feel ready to do so, you can place your cacao down and just draw the palms of the hands together to create a little friction. So rubbing them back and forth as if you're sparking some twigs to create your own fire. Just bringing back some energy, electricity into the body, shifting your state now as you complete your circle, your cycle, and then placing the palms over the face, flickering open the eyelids as you crack the fingers slightly to let the light pour in. And with this symbol, we promise to see with new eyes. Just coming back into the room, your space, whenever you feel ready to do so. I'd love to hear from everybody in the chat box when you feel ready to look at the screen again. 1, your state of being right now, right here. Whatever word that means for you. It doesn't have to make sense to me. It could be totally weird. 1 word describing your state of being. And 1 declaration for this new cycle. Rather than asking you what you set down, what you purge, what you release, let's leave that there. It is done. I'm more interested in what seed you're planting now for the future. What is it that you want to be made manifest through this declaration? What is it that you are orchestrating, creating, dancing into being? Beautiful. We've got balanced, arrived, centered, grateful. So beautiful. Whole. And then calling in things like joy and pleasure, living and being in truth and love. Mine personally is heat. I feel heat right now. Whenever I'm in ceremony, a few of you know this, I sweat like crazy because I'm moving a lot of energy, and fire is the element that I work with mostly. So my hands are like ready to set the world alight. And what I'm calling in more of for this new cycle is effortlessness in all ways. Beautiful. Thank you. Keep them coming in. Even though we're not vocalizing this in the space, because I want to respect the time, we're almost complete now. Just typing it out and making that like energetic offering and telling other people harnesses that energy of like, yeah, cool, Alicia's feeling calm. Awesome. I know that. I can also buy into this energetic signature, this truth, and magnify it so that it becomes bigger, it becomes more real. So knowing that everything that you wish for yourself, you inevitably give to others. So there is never a selfish desire. There is never a selfish prayer. Thank you so much for your selflessness by showing up in ceremony, because I know that the ripple effect of this is a magnitude. It's a force. So thank you. I will have my own Cacao Collective page up live later this week for those of you that already follow me. For those of you that don't, you can find me over on Instagram at Spirited Seeker, and my new website will be www.spiritedseeker.com. I'm so excited to continue this relationship with Dan and Sacred, and making much more beautiful offerings for everybody to join in. Accessible, easy. You know, if you only have 30 minutes in the morning once a week, you can feel the way that you feel right now, connected, feeling in touch, calling to live in ease and flow. So beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Is there anything that you'd like to say, Dan?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you, Emily, for that beautiful ceremony. It was really nice. Yeah, feeling really grateful to have you with us and have everyone else that participated. And yeah, looking forward to taking this energy with us in the future and creating what we need to create. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, much love.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I want to see all your faces, so I'm just going to click back to gallery view. Oh, Roxy, I didn't say hi to you before. Asti's all in the dark now. Beatrice, it's so beautiful to see your face, girl. Thank you, everybody. Such a pleasure, such an honor. And yeah, let this medicine carry through with you so that your mundane can be made a little bit more magical. I'll see you all on the other side of solstice and new moon. Woo!
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Feel free to take yourself off mute if you want to say goodbye. Make a sound of your feeling connected and in flow and guidance. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, Joya.
Thank you. See ya.
Pleasure, Hannah. See you soon. Bye, beautiful humans.